I think it's safe to say that gaming as a whole has definitely evolved. You know, back in the day, you could just play a little Pac-Man or hit the arcade and, get your rocks off and a little bit of gaming fun. And, wasn't too intricate and didn't need too much of a great design or masterful gameplay to have fun and enjoy yourself. But now things have changed. Like, every game has a certain standard that it's held to that needs to be met in order for it to be a good game, worth playing, definitely worth buying, because games are really pricey now. Literally $70 a pop if you're buying for PS5. I can't speak for any other console, but I know that $70 for me is a pretty penny. So with that being said, let's get into Wolong Fallen Dynasty and analyze whether you should buy it or not. Make sure to like and subscribe and watch to the end because it's going to be a really great video.
What? Let's go. Yeah. 100 round bitch with my hoes. 100 round bitch with my clothes. 100 round bitch with my pole. 100 round bitch with my dough. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Taking these, 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 taking these.
Okay, so the first thing, as soon as I jumped in the game, I gotta give it a 10 out of 10 for character creation. Like, the design is there's so many things you can do with the design of your character. Even height, you can be different heights, different builds. Like, it's almost like you're making a 2K build even, which is funny because how your character looks, I'm sure it won't matter throughout the game. It's just really for just the player's happiness, but hey, at least they're trying to make us happy. So thank you, Koei Tecmo, for that. But yeah, the character creation is really good. You can even down to the littlest minute details about your character, and it's cool because you get to see your character's face pretty often, so I guess that's why it's important. But other than that, Elden Ring had somewhat of the same design, and I'm gonna mention Elden Ring a lot because it's god tier for me as far as games go. But yeah, Elden Ring had really great design. However, because of armor and because you're really not trying to get your ass kicked all the time, you're barely going to see your character's face because you're going to be wearing helmets that will protect your face. But from what I've played so far in the Wolong Dynasty demo, there's not a lot of, you get to see your face a lot, so it's pretty cool to look at your character and see what he looks like, all the time, or he or she. For the cutscenes, I gotta give them an 8 out of 10. I don't really know what's going on, but obviously because it's a demo, but for the most part, the cutscenes seem pretty cool. And their characters, you really want to know more about them. Oh, who's that? And there's a special cutie at the end if you make it all the way to the end of the demo she's so cute, I almost want to buy the game. But let me stop joking around. But yeah, cutscenes are really good. Not too long either, which is good. I don't want to be watching cutscenes all the time. I want to play the game, but the cutscenes are good, and they kind of come at the right times as well. And you don't feel like you're just cutscening the whole time. There's no cutscening like that. You can play and characters will talk at the same time, but for the most part, it's all action. So that's really good. Now, let's segue into the combat style. Combat style of this game, it's fun. Yes, I will say it's fun, but it can get kind of clunky with the mechanics. There's a lot of things to learn, a lot. It almost feels overwhelming. Sometimes you feel oh, I can't do this right now because I have to, heal up or switch weapons, or honestly, switching weapons in the game is too complicated. You won't be able to do it. Switching weapons is, you can, but it's very hard. Even casting spells just feels almost like a burden, where it's meant to feel helpful and easy to do. It fails in that manner because it's oh, is it this button or is it that button? Maybe you can switch the controls around to make it a little bit easier for you, but it's just in the heat of battle, it's very hard to remember what button does what. And this is a game I'd probably put at least 4 to 5 hours of gameplay into, more than that honestly, into beating it, because the bosses are kind of difficult. The combat is heavily focused on timing and parrying attacks of enemies, So that makes boss fights kind of tricky because bosses aren't like your conventional enemies, so you don't know how they're gonna attack. You gotta really understand their rhythm of movement. Like, and with that, there's no room for error, because if you make a mistake, you'll take a lot of damage and then not be able to fight. So it kind of makes it hard. And then with that being said, that messes up the whole lock-on mechanism, because if you're fighting multiple enemies at once, it's very hard to like I can't parry more than one attack at once, if you know what I mean. So through that, and I haven't necessarily gotten a weapon that's able to span a wider range, at least from what I've seen in the demo. So fighting multiple enemies isn't that fun, and you do need help, which is good because they provide reinforcements, which is good. But sometimes you want to feel like you can play the game and beat the game on your own. Like, you want to feel like you need help, like someone always needs to be watching your back or watching your flank. The spells and the divine beast summon mechanism that they have, it's cool. However, it's not that helpful because it's basically like an extra super attack that only lasts about 1 second. So whereas like you think they would help you fight alongside, it's not really like that. It's kind of just like, oh, 1 second, a big attack, so maybe shift the pace of the battle. And my biggest issue with the game, which I really never liked, I forgot what other game that did this. Oh, you know what other game did this? Shadow of War, and I really hated it. So basically, you'll have weapons, and there's a star system. So you can let's just say I have a general soldier's head cap. I can pick up a 1-star general soldier's head cap with completely different attributes, and then later, hypothetically, I can find a 5-star general soldier's head cap that is much stronger. Now that might sound good, right? But when let's say I picked up a 3-star super general's soldier's helmet from fighting a boss, and it's a 3-star. But I can have, technically speaking, I can have a 5-star regular soldier's head cap that's better than the 3-star helmet that you picked up from a boss. So with the star system, it's like you keep picking up the same redundant equipment over and over and over again, and it just gets annoying. You just got to get rid of it or sell it. You know, it gets really annoying. Where I liked Elden Ring, where it's like you pick up one type of equipment, it's all the same equipment, and you can just level up one equipment. So the rest of you can get rid of, because you can just level up one and that'll be it. So there's no star system where it's like, oh, I can pick up a 3-star thing. This is better than the 1-star. So just like I said, we're going for simplicity here. Like, too much complex stuff in games kind of makes the game overwhelming, especially for like a first-time player. This is not so. I've never played any Koei Tecmo game before. Maybe I have. I haven't known. But for first-time players, we don't want to be overwhelmed with just data and different things that we have to learn throughout the game. Like, if you'll see it throughout my playthrough, I just get kind of overwhelmed. Like, oh, I gotta read all this stuff. You know what I mean? Lastly, so the traversal is pretty okay. Like, he runs pretty quick, or your character runs pretty quick, so there's no problem with that. You do get a double jump, which we know in every game a double jump is godsend. But the problem with the double jump is it's still very hard to scale buildings. Like, whatever happened to Shadow of War or Assassin's Creed Traversal, where literally everything was like scalable. You can get around anywhere. Literally, if you could think of it, you can get there. I miss games like that. Like, it's very annoying. Well, I guess that's part of the puzzle of figuring out how to get places, but it can get tricky. And then along with that, the map is horrible. There is no map. Like, the map is bad. Like, literally all you get is a little compass and just like little markers and like little lights, flashing lights telling you where to go. I don't even know. I got lost a lot in that demo because sometimes I was trying to go back. Like, I found a blacksmith and I was trying to go back to go upgrade a weapon, and I literally spent like an hour trying to find the blacksmith. And then it gets crazy. It gets horrible. The online features are pretty cool though, because actually I used the online features to help me beat the last boss, because I actually summoned someone online and we fought alongside one of my reinforcements, and it was a lot easier. Didn't feel as hard or challenging, but I could have definitely used that in the first boss, because they double phased me and I was not happy about that. But I think the online can do a lot of expanding, player versus player. So I mean, hopefully they do expand it, or maybe if they get enough sales they will expand it. So I think it has a lot of room for growth in that area. Lastly, I can tell it's a very grind-oriented game. Just piggybacking to Elden Ring, you can go where you want in this game for the most part, from what I've seen. But if you're not strong enough, it'll clearly be shown that you're not strong enough. Like, there's definitely a ranking system of enemies. Like, if let's say you're rank 15 and you run to an enemy that's ranked 25, you can try, but for the most part, if you get hit by one of his attacks, you might not even be able to tank one attack. So there's that. Whereas Elden Ring, I feel like there's a little bit more room for growth. Even if you're really weak, you can kind of like, I don't know, there's ways around it in Elden Ring. And also this game is still kind of guiding you in the direction it wants to go. It could have just been a demo thing, but from what I've seen, I feel like it will definitely not be a demo thing. It's very grind oriented. You need to grind sometimes and get stronger to fight certain bosses, because if not, like I literally did that. I struggled with the first boss so much to the point where I realized, like, oh, I have to go back and get stronger and level up my equipment. And I did that, and I was able to beat him. Also, I got a little better with parrying and dodging and just understanding the dance, as we like to call it, of the game. There's definitely a specific flow to how you play the game and how you fight. And once you understand that flow, then you can beat the game. So in conclusion, would I buy the game? I think I'd want to give it a rank of, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Elden Ring, 10 out of 10 must play. I would give this a 6. The 6 is a good score, but I just do believe that it has a lot of room to improve. I don't know if I would want to play the game all the way through. I think I might get bored at some points, because it just feels like they didn't do the best on lore, and every boss, at least from the demo, they're just like random huge beasts, which really doesn't do good for the lore. Like, I want to fight bosses with a good story, and I also want to feel challenged while not feeling like a lot of it is out of my control. Like, I just need to be a certain level to beat the boss, because I literally struggled with that first boss so much to the point where I almost quit this demo and this video was never made. But that concludes the video, guys. I think you should definitely check it out. Play the demo at least. It's good that there's a demo there to let you get a feel for the game, see if you would buy it. Play the demo. Drop in the comments what you thought about it, and like and subscribe, share with a friend, and as always, find your Zen, your final form. I will see you next time, guys.
Okay, let's go.